Bill Belichick and Jordon Hudson. They're on the cover of Us Weekly. I just can't believe that he's putting this on the cover of a magazine. I've heard of midlife crisis. I've heard of men that get whipped by you know what, but on the cover of a magazine with your sugar baby, to me this feels like some sort of ritual, humiliation ritual that he's being a pleasurable one, a fun humiliation ritual, I guess. But that's what this feels like to me, and it's opened Belichick up to a level of criticism that I'm sure he never anticipated. Here's Gene Chizik talking about Belichick and distractions.
The whole girlfriend distraction with all the stuff going on, it's the optics just are what they are, right? Is he really focused? Is he really focused like he was before? I don't know the answer to it. I'm just telling you what the optics look like. Those questions have to be asked. You have former players going, now, wait a minute. The guy always talked about eliminating distractions, and that's kind of all you see there is distractions. So which one is it? So I don't know. I'm not there up close and personal, but it's definitely not the outcome that the UNC folks are hoping for right now.
Steve, are you shocked to see Bill as a cover boy with his sugar baby?
At this point, no. And it couldn't have come at a worse time. Look, I understand the way the media works a little bit, and I'm sure this cover was planned out months ago. But to come out on the same week after you get just blown away by USF and on a game day where once again she's on the sideline before the game, I think that's the greatest irony. And Jason, you and I have talked about it. The man who said the Patriot Belichick way was about eliminating distractions and we're just about ball. I want to make this clear. I don't care who he's with. I really don't. I don't even care about the age. It's not my business. But the fact that it's been out so public and it's been thrown out there, how can we not ignore it and make it a story? And if I'm a former player of his that went through the whole process and didn't have as much fun as some of my ex-college teammates had, because I was on this organization, if I'm looking at him now, I'm thinking to myself, Jason, very simply, what a hypocrite.
TJ, this is your favorite coach. Mm-hmm. What are your thoughts here? And by the way, Steve said USF. I think he meant UCF, Central Florida.
Yes.
Just, yeah. TJ.
Yeah. So, you know how bad UNC is regarding this right? There's a lawsuit right now going on. It got filed today, where one of the former administrators is suing UNC for hiring Belichick behind closed doors. This is how poorly this is going. Yes, this is happening. It's in the New York Post right now. It's Chris Clemens is the guy's name, a former UNC administrator. He says there's a pattern in practice now that they hired him behind closed doors and for concealment, and they're concealing conference realignment talks. And so all this is happening. This is how upset UNC is right now with the hiring of Bill Belichick, and they're embarrassed about it. And I cannot help, it's not exactly the same thing, certainly not apples to apples, but I cannot help but see a little bit of resemblance to the conversation we had yesterday about Russell Wilson, a guy that had such a rock solid start to his career, got involved with a woman that very clearly doesn't align with the identity that he had been, and the second half has been a disaster. And look, I don't know if Ciara's got a whole lot to do with Russell Wilson's inability to throw the deep ball anymore, but I do think Jordon Hudson's got a lot to do with Belichick's inability to coach. I mean that. I from a guy that I saw his former girlfriend. I think her name was Linda. She was around the facility, and she was an appropriate woman that would kind of follow him around, and he was clearly in charge. And now Belichick follows Jordon Hudson around, and he's the one on the leash, and he's about 20 feet behind her, and wherever she says, hey, stop doing that, Bill, he says, okay, yes, ma'am, whatever you need. And it's embarrassing, and he's lost respect from even people like me who have at least, I would still maintain today he's the greatest coach ever, but he's certainly throwing some questions into that. I mean, he could have retired And I would have maintained forever he's the greatest coach to ever live. And instead now he is, you said this 6 months ago, 9 months ago, privately, what you just said, that this is like, would you call it an embarrassment ritual or a
Humiliation ritual.
I don't have any other explanation. I thought it was such a crazy thing for you to say 9 months ago. I don't have another explanation other than he's so tied up in this 24-year-old that he was willing to sacrifice his entire reputation in his life for, a good 3.5 minutes every night. I don't know.
Jason, I'm just telling you, and I know you know what I'm talking about. Like Floyd Mayweather, Rocky Marciano, it's undefeated. It is undefeated. And you talk about a midlife crisis. The midlife crisis, I've always thought of a middle-aged man or older man getting a Corvette. He's not on the cover of Car and Driver here, fellas. He's on the cover of Us Weekly. Jason, one of these days when this is all over, you're going to have to get your old buddy Bubba Cunningham. Oh, I can't wait to see what Bubba Cunningham has to say about this.
Jason, let me just, do you know how crazy this is from somebody who, again, do you know how obsessed with legacy Bill Belichick is? I'm telling you, I personally experienced this obsession. The guy loves history. Yes. He loves nothing more than studying history, and he shames you for not knowing it. He shames you for, we used to go around, there were guys all over the walls in the cafeteria and each room, different places. They had Patriot greats. And not just that, like he would quiz you on the holidays, okay? He embarrassed Aaron Dobson one time, a second round pick out of Marshall, for not knowing the difference between Veterans Day and Memorial Day. I mean, destroyed him in front of the whole team. Like he was a teacher, but also he wanted you to know history. He really, really understood how important legacy was. So to take that Bill that I witnessed, that you needed to know every guy that ever contributed to the Patriots dynasties, you had to know everything about them. It was important to you being on this team. To turning himself into this guy and destroying his legacy, I can't make sense of it. It is the craziest thing I've ever watched.
I think that, and Steve, maybe you could help me out here, but I think that getting fired and having that thing fall apart with the Patriots mentally broke Bill Belichick. I just, you have all that success for 20 years. You push all your chips into the table and say, hey, I want to move on from Tom Brady. And it all blows up in your face. And now we're just looking at a mentally broken man. Maybe that's it.
Or he's desperate. Jason, I get the sense he still wanted to coach. And in this business, unfortunately, they cut you before you cut them. And he still felt like, hey, I still have something in the tank here. And then he found out the rest of the National Football League had kind of moved on, right? So maybe at this point he said, I want to coach somewhere, anywhere. And out of desperation, he took this job. I never looked at him as a modern day college football coach. I really didn't. And Jason, you could draw the analogy. You said a couple of days ago that if Russell Wilson would have quit or had a broken leg or just walked away from football right around his 9th, 10th season, we look at him completely different. Well, if Bill Belichick would have just said, you know what, I've had my run. Bob Kraft doesn't want me. I'm actually done with coaching. His reputation right now would be completely different also.
Belichick's, Jason, Belichick's definition of mental toughness is doing what's best for the team, even when it's not best for you. It's exactly the opposite of what he's doing right now. It proves your point. They broke him. He has no mental toughness. He's doing what's best for him in his bedroom, and he's sacrificing his team because of it.
To me, what the equivalent would be, what you're talking about, TJ, is if and because trust me, I'm well aware. It's like if I hopped on the racial idolatry bandwagon, if I started preaching that systemic racism explains everything and did the flip and did whatever, they'd rain money on me. They just rain money on me. But I would be sitting like, man, I built my whole life around speaking against racial idolatry. But I just couldn't imagine getting so broken that I would just violate everything that I stood for. And I'm not excusing or even trying to normalize what he's doing here with the Jordon Hudson, but I think most people would understand it and be, if this was something he was doing just totally in his private life, if she wasn't on the sidelines, if everybody kind of knew, hey, Bill's got this young girlfriend, but you never heard from her, she wasn't on magazine covers, she wasn't in TV interviews, I think everybody would be like, oh, okay, it's weird, but the fact that he has centered it in this way, he's mentally broken and he just like turned into such a selfish person after getting fired that he's just like, I don't care. I don't care what people think about me. I'm actually going to throw it in my face. I'm going to throw it in Robert Kraft's face. I'm out here having fun and I got my little young thing.
Help us grow the Fearless Army. Pound that like button, subscribe to the channel, and share this video with all your fearless friends.